Hello everyone. Record the whole thing, but I'll show you what the script is capable of doing and what you can do with it. Okay. So first off, if you want to try this, you can get it from github.com rat77 in pendults. This is the folder where all the scripts that we are going to talk about today are present. We are especially going to look into let me zoom out again so that we are going to look into this AWS AD folder. Okay. Now, what this script does is something very interesting. Um, it uses something called as cloud config. If you have not heard about cloud config or cloud init, basically it's something which is used very much in OpenStack for configuring the instances that you are creating in OpenStack. But this is something which has been supported by most of the cloud providers. Any VM or instances is created. This is very powerful tool because now you can use this to configure any server or workstation the way you want it to, and this should eliminate a lot of the manual job that you have to do for setting up any server, right? Now this can even be extended with a little bit of AWS. All you need for installed, then you need to have your credentials. Basically, you need to generate your access key and use that access key to access your AWS account from a command line. And when you can combine these two things, this becomes an amazing utility to do automation for creating all kind of test labs that you want to create with active domain, especially, right? There are few other projects which can actually help you. One of that is Bad Blood, which you can search online. It's called as Bad Blood, but we will see that in a little bit. So now what we want to see is, first we will look at setup.sh. There are few things that you want to provide. The AWS private key that you have added in the region that you want to use. The AWS that we are going to use. Here by default I am using the 2019 server thing. I have created the security group and subnet pre-hand because that is very specific to how you want to set up your environment and so on and so forth. So you want to give your SG and subnet, the AWS key, and what type of instance you want to create, whether it is T3 micro, T2 micro, T1 micro, whatever you want to create, right? Now, before I script, let me quickly run this script here so that you can see the script in action. I have already exported all these variables in a separate variable, and of course I am not going to show that to you here, but let's run this script and see what it does. And while the script runs, I'll explain the other parts of the script to you. Okay, so we will run this bash setup.sh, and one thing that immediately happens is it will create a server in your AWS account, and it will give you the details of the AWS server that it has created. We really don't need to look into this script right now, but we will continue looking at the script that basically creates the whole environment. Now, once you have given all these variables, you can basically do run instances with the image ID that we have given, count of one instance type. Most interesting part here is the file, and we are seeing that inside user data id.ps1 is what should get executed. Now, once this image is created, rather this VM EC2 instance is created, we keep waiting for the instance to become active. Once the instance become active, so then we use the uh, key that you have provided, private key, to get the password data, and password data, then we can basically look into the password of RDP password for this server 2019, and we keep looking for this password while we don't get it. Once we get the password, we can start trying to XRDP into this newly created into the newly created EC2 instances. Now, what is interesting here is that the script that we are going to use times. So you should not close the RDP window that appears immediately. You should wait for a few seconds, maybe 10-15 seconds, and see if there is a command prompt that comes up. If there is a command prompt that comes up which is running dropper.ps1, then don't close the RDP window. It will automatically close uh, after the tasks are done. Finally, after where it doesn't show any command window to you and it is not executing any PowerShell script. This is when you can close this RTP session, because once you close this RTP session yourself, then the return value for RDP session will be 0, which means that it will come out of this loop and the server installation is completed. Once the server installation is complete, it will actually try to run Windows 10, but I suggest that you comment this if you really want to run Windows 10 on AWS or not, because Windows 10 I could only find one AMI that too requires special subscription. So first you have to subscribe to that Windows 10 workstation and then only you can use it. But then again the same idea, basically you can run this Windows 10 AMI, and okay, see here we have got the password and now it is logging in into this, and I can show you what I meant by RDP. We are going to wait for this to complete the applying user settings and then show the desktop. Let's wait for that to show the desktop while we talk about this, right? It will do some similar thing for Windows 10, but it's your choice. If you don't want it, you can basically delete all this part here. Another thing that you have to do to before you do any of this is, of course, install AWS CLI by apt install AWS CLI, and then configure it with AWS configure to give the private keys or the access keys. Now let's go into user data. Now once this comes up, you can actually click on yes here or no here, whatever you want. But as you can see, there is a command window that has automatically opened and it is running dropper.ps1. And this is what I was saying. So if you see this pop up, then don't close the free RDP window that comes up, because if you close this, then it will basically be not able to do the task that it was supposed to do after the restart of the machine. This task will continue, but there are 2-3 tasks, and in between we have to reboot. So the only way I could actually try to do this was connect to RDP again and again automatically machine, so that I don't have to configure any auto login on the server itself. That being said, once this task completes, it will basically give a restart command to VM, and it will automatically restart, and the while loop will bring back the RDP again and continue from where it left. And we can see how this is configured in the scripts that we will see here. We can go into ad. Now this is something I ripped off from one of the sites. and I have given that site here. If you want, you can look at it, but I have modified it according to my needs. So we are giving the dropper script here, and then the whole script is here. uh, it is basically keeping a boot count every time, and whenever you reboots it, basically updates that. But the whole idea of doing this is you can have a switch on, specify what commands you want to execute before a reboot happens. So all that we are doing is basically setting this as a secure string, PA123 SSWRD. Use that and create a administrator account, and then add him to local group administrators. Restart the computer. Then we go ahead and import the module ADDS deployment, and then we go ahead and try to uh, basically install the ADDS forest. This also we should basically change, otherwise it might fail. So it should be PA whatever. It should be a strong password so that it passes the password complexity requirements of Windows. Otherwise, this might fail. So you can change this password and run the script, and then a domain, and the domain name here is phantom.com. Feel free to change this if you want. Domain mode is Windows 2008. Forest mode is Windows 2008. DNS we are installing, and so on and so forth. Now after this again we will restart, and your server will become a domain server. Once that is done, then we are basically again going to get bad blood, which I was mentioning a bit. Your users, domains, and user computers and groups in your Active Directory. So we are asking it to create 10 users, 5 groups, and 10 computers. So if you want, you can change here, and this will automatically randomly create these many users, groups, and computers in your Active Directory. Then you can rename your computer. See, it has rebooted again. So yeah. So then we are renaming the computer to DC001, and then doing a restart. Once everything is done, then we are removing the count file, boot file, and dropper script. That's all basically we are doing for creating a domain computer. Now same thing you can basically do for clients. In clients also, same boilerplate script that we are and we are creating a new admin user. Add the local group, send the DNS client address. This is the address of the DC that we can actually find out from the previous server DC. But since we have not found out, I have kept it as 1111. Actually, I am doing that. I am using it as DC address. So this DC address is something that you have to change earlier in script, and it can be used here, but I have not done that, but you get the idea. So this will actually add, then we are doing a add computer to domain name Phantom, and then restart. Basically it will join the computer to domain Phantom, and then restart. Now this you can extend to whatever shape and form you want, right? And if you want, you can even basically have Linux machines which are created and joined to the domain using that. So this is the script that I wanted to show you for today. Thank you for joining. By the way, when you are running this, you might get some errors if you have not set the password correctly, or if you if you have closed the sessions early. So wherever you see the passwords, you will have to modify them to meet the password complexity, and then it should basically work just fine.